This is an official WeAreDuckHunters.com Canada Prairie Pothole Region Migration and Crop Report for September 28, 2010. We suggest the following guides if planning to hunt Canada this season. Over the past week, the prairie region of Canada experienced much-needed warmer temperatures and dry conditions. If you take a look at the map, the brown areas represent anywhere from 0 to 1/3 of an inch of rainfall over the past 7 days, where the yellow areas represent around an inch of rain. Overall, Alberta and Saskatchewan were dry, which is a very good thing for those of you who are not caught up to speed. As you can see, just to the east and west of the Alberta and Saskatchewan border received very little to no rainfall. Southeast Saskatchewan was hit the hardest with around 1 inch of precipitation, although above average temperatures have helped to dry out the fields despite the rain. Next, let's take a close-up look at Alberta's average temperature over the last 7 days. The southern portion of the province was at least 10 degrees above Celsius, which has done wonders to dry up the fields. Overall, last week was much warmer than the previous week, and similar conditions are projected the next 5 days. Conversely, the past week has been below average for precipitation. If you take a look at the map, you should notice they've had some showers but nothing major. As you can see, the central region was hit the hardest with about 1.5 inches of rainfall, but everywhere else has been relatively dry, and farmers have started to access fields slowly but surely over the past few days. Alright, let's talk a little bit about migration. For Alberta, we have not had too many reports of any high flyers for the past 5 days, although lots of lessers have been reported in large numbers province-wide. The heat wave, which reached in the 80s at times last week, really slowed bird activity down. Recent reports showed birds staying tight and feeding close to the roost. Not to worry if you have planned a recent trip to the region, as the warmer weather is actually going to help hold birds in the area, as it will open up more available food sources over the next couple of weeks. There are some reports that the ducks in the northern portion of the province are starting to move, but in areas like the Peace region, they're still on the roost. The birds will remain in this holding pattern until the weather cools off again. As of 7 days ago, the specks were thick around Edmonton, but there are reports that they have moved on to the southern portion of the province. Although I've been talking to some guys on the southern border of Alberta and Saskatchewan, and they're not seeing them there yet, so mainly migrating to the south and southwest portion of the province, as they truly have not started to make their way east yet. For Saskatchewan, it's been warm and dry over the past 7 days with the exception of some spotty thunderstorms. As of today, 28% of the province has been harvested, which is over 10% higher than a week ago today. Really quick, take a look at the precipitation map from April until yesterday. This will give you a good idea where the driest conditions are and most likely where the hunting is the best. Anywhere that you see brown or tan has received the least amount of rainfall over the past several months. The farmers really just started to get into full swing in terms of harvesting yesterday, but the southern portion of the province has made the most progress. For now, they are mainly cutting down the canola, which doesn't do much for us waterfowl hunters, but if the weather holds, as expected, more and more farmers should start swathing lentils and getting the weed out within a week to 10 days. Okay, on to migration activity for Saskatchewan. Today we had our first reports of migrating sandhills in the southwest portion of the province, which is odd because they are usually a little bit ahead of the snows, but that's not the case this year. As I said earlier, they're not really seeing the specs and huntable numbers yet. A few groups of 100 or so here and there, but nothing in the thousands. Last week they had great numbers of snow and Ross geese in the southern portion of the province, but the white geese are eating up all the food and slowly moving out, although they'll definitely be back as soon as some of the fields open up. Regions that are currently harvesting, i.e. the driest regions, is most likely where they'll start showing up in the largest numbers next. Remember, it's all about food source availability. Overall, snow migration activity has been very sporadic. Today we had reports of snows migrating west, northeast, and south, so who knows what those crafty critters are up to right now. If you drive around long enough, I'm sure you'll find them in huntable numbers in the newly harvested fields. One neat fact, they're shooting a decent amount of lessers on the western side of the province, much more than they normally do anyway, as they tend to stay west of Saskatchewan. For Canada geese, we're not really having a lot of migration activity reported, just a lot of pockets of resident birds around. As the weather gets nastier, we'll start to see those migrators head south. There's still a ton of resident ducks in the area. Migration team members are mostly harvesting mallards and pintails. We have had reports of quality hunts in the evenings, along with a fair number of ducks in between geese in the morning. Every pothole around has ducks in them, so the future looks bright for anyone planning on going to Saskatchewan. The key factor here is food source availability. As long as the farmers can start to get the crops out of the fields, the ducks can feed, they should hold in the province for some time. Alright, well that's it for your We Are Duck Hunters Canada Migration Report. Enjoy the rest of your week and please be safe out there. Have a nice day.